Hello, everybody. Today you are here with John Martinez, and today I will be showing how unemployment and crime rates correspond with each other using linear regression. So, me showing that will be right now. Welcome back to the correlation between unemployment and crime rates in the United States in the 2000s to the 2023. As we go down, we see that the goal of this project is to determine whether the changes in unemployment levels are associated with the corresponding changes in violent crime rates. Using data from U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and the FBI Uniform Crime Rate Programs to construct a linear model to test the relationship. The study is also to highlight the limitations of using national data to understand crime rates dynamics fully. And as we go down here, this is the linear regression graph of the correlation between unemployment and crime rates in the 2000s to the 2023s. So as we see from the graph, as the unemployment rate percentage increases, the violent crime rate percentage also is increasing at a slow rate. And as we continue down, the assumption that higher unemployment leads to more crime rate is intuitive and widely held. When people lose access to legitimate economic opportunities, some may turn to criminal behavior as a means of survival or expression of frustration of being unemployed. So we focus on violent crime rates in the US, analyzing the relationship with unemployment levels over a 24-year period. And the objective to use linear regression is by modeling to quantify the strength and directions of the relationship, if any. We also ask, is there a statistically significant correlation between unemployment and violent crime rates in the U.S. from 2000 to 2023? And as we keep on going down, there are several studies that have been examined of the relationship between both the unemployment and crime rates. For example, Becker in 1968, Economic Theory of Crime posits that individuals make rational choices based on potential gains and losses, suggesting a rise in crime when legal unemployment opportunities decrease. And as we keep going down, there are other notable contributions to the topic. Includes Bushray, Cook, and Phillips in the 2012s, who explored how marginal changes in employment prospects influence the likelihood of committing crimes among high-risk populations. Their findings suggest that crime prevention policies should focus on improving labor market outcomes for specific demographic groups, rather than applying one-size-fits-all approaches. Additionally, researchers has begun to examine the psychological effects of long-term unemployment, including increased stress and mental health deterioration, which may directly elevate the risk of violence. And as we head down to the data sources, so these links are where I have obtained my data. Like I said before in the beginning, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and the FBI Uniform Crime Reporting Database, and so on and so forth. So, in addition to the linear regression, supplementary analysis, including time series and multivariate regressions, were considered to explore nonlinear and lagged effects of unemployment and crime. Data cleaning involved addressing missing values and verifying consistency between sources to ensure robustness. And as we go down to the linear regression model, we use a simple linear regression model to model the relationship between both the unemployment and the crime rates. For every 1% increase in unemployment, violent crime rate increases by approximately 3.31 incidents per 100,000 people. The R-squared value is 0.11, suggests that only 11% of the variance in violent crime is explained by unemployment. Here, for the model, we use a simple linear regression to model the relationship where B of O is the intercept, B of 1 is the slope, as a change in crime rate per 1% change in unemployment, and E is the error term, and the regression analysis, the model output. So the slope of the B of 1 is 3.31, the intercept, the B of O, is 374.95, and R-squared value is 0.11. So, for every 1% increase in unemployment, violent crime rate changes. As the model assumes linearity, independence of observation, and normality of residuals, given the societal complexity of crime causation, some of these assumptions may not fully hold, but the model provides a baseline indicator. And as of the result and the discussion, the analysis reveals a weak positive correlation between unemployment and violent crimes in the US. While there is a trend suggesting the rising unemployment correlates with increased violent crimes, the relationship is neither strong nor predictive. Unemployment is likely a contributing factor, especially in urban and economically depressed areas. However, national averages may dilute localized spikes. Thus, future analysis should incorporate localized data and socioeconomic indicators and non-linear modeling techniques. And policy implications. So the findings suggest that addressing unemployment alone is not sufficient to reduce crimes. However, targeted economic support, the high crime communications, may have a modest impact. Investing in job training, education, and youth employment programs can reduce crimes, especially when coupled with community policing and mental health services. This study is also was for the conclusion. The study examined the relationship between the unemployment and crime using US data from the 2000s to 2023 through linear regressions. Results show a weak positive correlation with unemployment, explaining only about 11% of the variance in violent crime rates. And as for references, these are the websites that I use to gather all of my data and information for this project. Well, guys, that does it for this video. That concludes everything for the correlation between the unemployment and crime rates. So yeah, guys, leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and yeah, bye bye.